Hi everybody, this is Lord Majicus. We're going to do something a little bit different today. So I decided that today I'm going to actually show you guys what the cards look like that I play with in paper are. Because I play Merfolk in both Modern and Legacy, but I play it in both paper and online, and my paper deck is entirely foiled out and looks really pretty. Since I don't have time to do an entire league today to make up for Sunday because I was gone, I figured I would spend some time and I'd show you, what my cards look like and some of the, accessories that go along with them are. So let me grab my modern deck here. Hopefully this will work and this will look nice. Set these up here. Alright, yeah. So Masterpiece Aether Vials, and you can see that my vials are all the full foil. Some of them, you see how there's like a little rainbow streak that goes down here. There's a vial that is a masterpiece that does not have a foiling here or here. It's just on the outside border. I specifically endeavored to make sure that all my vials are shiny the whole way through. And they look really, really pretty. I love using these. In fact, I also went out of my way to get these Chalice dice. Hopefully you'll be able to see it here. Yeah, the focusing on this camera is not super great, so this is what I have to work with. So they're Chalice Borealis Sky Blue / White. These are really, really pretty here. Oh. You can kind of see. So there are translucent dice. And we'll pull them out here so you can get a... And yeah, hopefully you'll be able to kind of see a little bit here. They actually have sparkles and swirls inside of them, so they are translucent, but yeah, they are kind of shiny and swirly on the inside. So these look really nice to use with the Aether Vials. And they are blue, so they contrast with the orange very nicely. If you're going to have, pretty vials, you may as well have pretty dice to use with them. And I like these especially because it's easy to read them and they contrast very well. So yeah, this is great. As far I'm super pleased with finding these dice. So, all right, let's move on to the next thing. So yeah, that's what Aether Vial and dice look like for them. And I mean, these vials are insanely beautiful. They're ridiculously expensive, and I don't blame anybody for not wanting to spend money, because it's ridiculous and you shouldn't. Don't foil your deck, because foiling your deck is a trap, and you're gonna burn a ton of money. But I'm stupid. So next thing for Modern, we have the Force of Negations. You kind of these look really, really pretty in foil. There you go. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Perfect right there. Yeah, the full set of foil forces. They're absolutely, I think, a necessity in this deck now. So we got, Spreading Seas here, shiny and beautiful as always. Let's see. Yeah, Benthic Biomancer. All of my Benthic Biomancers. Yeah, you can see they're all the pre-release one. They have the stamp on them. Surprisingly, they weren't really that expensive to get, so. But this is another really pretty foil. Oh yeah, you can kind of see. Yep. I like the Benthics a lot. The art is just very good on them. Let's see. Merfolk Tricksters. Very awesome card. Definitely will be in the deck forever. Yeah, that's a nice foil too. Oh yeah, here we go. It's the promo Silvergull Adepts. This is actually what caused me to start foiling my deck in the first place, because I ended up getting a set of these, and then they were so shiny, but I didn't want to play a deck that only had some shiny cards in it, so I set out on a quest to get a bunch of shiny cards. And got Mastery of the Pearl Trident. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but right like here, and you can't see it super well, but right under where it says defending, mine actually has a minor misprint on it, where there's an extra dot that's below it for some reason. And if you were to look at, say this one, you can see there's a dot like right here, and it does not exist here. So there's like an extra period that they just printed on the card for some reason. So technically this master is actually a misprint in my deck. And it is also a way to recognize if something would ever happen, that misprint is a part of my deck that I can identify it. So I also have another secret way to identify my deck that I will not disclose publicly, but in case something were to ever happen to it, I could, beyond the shadow of a doubt, prove that it was mine. And then this one was one of the more recent things I acquired. Previously, I was using the JSS Lord of Atlantis, but here I have a set of the Judge foils that just came out, because this is now the only version of this card that has the correct text for it on it. And I do this as a favor to all my opponents, so that way no excuses. You make a mistake in combat math, it's your fault. I am not misrepresenting anything. In fact, I'm going as far out of my way as humanly possible to make sure that you have the right information. Let's see. Here are 3 of my Coral Helms. I'm testing those in Modern. I think that this is definitely one of my favorite Merfolks. It's a very, very powerful effect, and it looks really good too. Yeah, being able to level it up, and for 6 mana you effectively get a 4/4 flying Merfolk Lord, and that's really fun. Like, we can't play with Master of Waves anymore, but we can still play with Coral Helm Commander, and he can give us that same kind of power to our deck. So yeah, he was in the last version of this deck I was testing in paper. A lot of this stuff, I don't play paper as much as I do online these days. Mostly for paper, I'm just taking this stuff to larger events. Oh yeah, Kira. Another very, very shiny, awesome card. They're both Modern Masters ones here. I think the Modern Masters foils are really nice. Let's see, then, oh yeah, the F&M promo Marrow Reacheries. You can see it has the stamp in here, and then the set symbol is the DCI. Can't quite see it. Yeah, no, this sucks that I can't get a better resolution than this, but it is what it is. Yeah. So I have 3 in this at the moment. I do have a 4th one. We'll see it. And yeah, you can see it. It's another card that, like, the artwork's a little bit dark, but I love the fact that it shines a lot on the text box. Yeah, you can see like the rainbow effect on it. It's nice. Alright, and land. So, you get over here. So I have a set of GP Mutavaults. They have the old star on the bottom, which I like that a lot of the promos do have the foily star. You can see it there. Same thing, the set symbol is also the star. So, if I had, like, I would love to own a set of the, there is a Champs Mutavault that is a full art one, but unfortunately they're like $600 a piece, so I do not have that kind of money to spend on just these cards. So this one will be fine for a long time. I don't know, maybe sometime in the future, but not anytime in the near future. Alright, so yeah, these are more recent acquisitions of Modern Masters. We got ourselves some Fiery Islets. And Waterlogged Groves. So yeah, in Mono Blue you probably only want about 4 Horizon lands. So I have a split here of 2 and 2 for my deck. So I think I have a third one of this, but I still need to get one more of these to finish the set. I do have all 4 of these here. Let's see, we got our foil Oboro. Very good with Benthic Biomancer and it sometimes has tricks with Mutavault. It's got a really weird foiling pattern to it. You can see in the text box. It's kind of strange. It's foiled in odd places, but very pretty. This is also another expensive foil that can be like $100. It's because it's from what is it, Champions of Kamigawa. It's an old set and it hasn't had a reprint. So, and then we come to my basic islands. So this is currently the basic island I am playing in my deck. I have a ton of these. They're also quite expensive. I think they're something like between $20 and $25 a piece at least. But just look at the way that this shines. Yeah. Oh yeah. See, look how nice and colorful that is. Oh, that's just beautiful. It's really pretty. This is my favorite island to play with. Actually, before I started using this island, I was using a set of these. This one, this is the one I started with because this is an 8th edition island, so it's actually really cheap. It's like $1 or $2 for this as a foil, but I mean I kind of like it. It shines reasonably well, but it also looks it's a very blue island. So you've got like dark blue rocks and then like a light blue background with some very saturated blue for the water there. So I like this a lot, but at some point these need to find a new home because I don't need to have the old ones and the new ones. So. So that was all the stuff that was currently in my modern deck. So what else is over here? Ah, yeah, sideboard. Well, I should also show. Right now, this is one of the boxes that I use a lot. You can see this box has got some serious wear on it. I've been using this box for a long time, but I like this for a few reasons. It's the City of Brass on here. It's faded. It's got a strap that holds it down, so this isn't ever going to, like, it can't accidentally open in your backpack. Oh, there. And it has 2 pockets in here, one where the deck fits in, and then another spot over here for sideboard and tokens. So I'll pull out sideboard first. So let's see, yeah, some Relic of Progenitus. And yeah, these are our Modern Masters relics. Which again, the Modern Masters foiling is pretty good. There we go. Yeah, that's nice and shiny. Grafdigger's Cage. I actually am going to be replacing these with the new core set ones because I only have 2 of the Modern Masters 17, I think it is, Grafdigger's Cage, and I want all of them to match, so they're getting replaced with core sets as soon as they're in the mail. I should have them probably by the end of the week. Let's see, Phyrexian Revoker. These are M15. Yeah, they look really nice. Very powerful. I like this card a lot. Oh, this one, Thassa. She's also kind of up there. I think she's like 25 for a foil. Looks really pretty in foil though. Yeah, you can see like the clouds and the border shine very, very nicely, and it does basically everything you need against control and like Jund. Oh, here we go. Foil Deprives. This is our modern counterspell. Very colorful. Some Echoing Truths here. Nice, good catch all the random nonsense like Ensnaring Bridge. Again, they're Modern Masters. And we have some promo Dismembers. So these are, I believe, FNM promos. They have the star on them. There we go. so that's the sideboard. Oh yeah, and pull out the tokens. Unfortunately, these tokens are probably not getting used anytime in the near future. So, there's a few energies. Yeah. Alright. So these are all for Master of Waves. Unfortunately, Plague Engineer has made Master of Waves pretty unplayable, so these tokens don't really get played much anymore. Which one I use depends on how I feel on any given day, but I have like a ton of these. So we'll see. Theros one. The Elemental Horsey is probably my favorite. Yeah, and then this is the Giant Enemy Crab. So. But now I will show you the special thing I had commissioned. Let me find. So these, so we'll set these out here so you can see. This was a project I worked on because I had a nice shiny deck, but I need nice shiny tokens to go along with it. So this is what I created. I actually commissioned Ishtin, who does a lot of the Murphy's art on, and follow Ishtin on Twitter. Absolutely does fantastic artwork. I asked if we could get a Murphy kind of elemental horsey, and yeah, this is so I used this in order to make foil tokens for Master of Waves. Do I have it sitting here anywhere? Let me see if I can. Yes. All right. So I'll show you. So if you see this, this is what a blank foil looks like. You take a random foil card. You take any random foil card like this, and I just don't want to get like dust all over. This is a nail polish remover. It's acetone. So you take acetone on like a cotton swab and brush it over this. It strips off all of the ink and then eventually leaves you with just this nice blank foil at the end. You can buy stacks of these too. You don't have to, if you don't feel like screwing around with the acetone. You can just get these on eBay. They'll give them to you in packs. So yeah, you take your random foil, you acetone it, you get this, and then you can print on a laser jet transparency paper. Yeah, laser jet transparency, and that will, if you size everything up correctly, then you print it out and you can take like scissors or also like a nice X-Acto knife and cut it out. Use some spray glue on this, and then you put the transparency over top of the foil card, and that's how you get foily magic tokens. So yeah, that's how I did this. Now you might see like some of them, like this one I didn't quite press the glue on right as perfectly because this is one of the first ones I did, so you can see it looks a little bit weird like right here. But like this one was a later batch that I did, and it looks a lot more even and consistent. So but yeah, the foily Master of Waves tokens, I'm very happy to have those. Unfortunately, Master of Waves does not really see a lot of play at this point, so I don't get to whip them out very often. It does make me kind of sad. But yeah, they fit right in here in my deck box. So one thing I like about this, there's a spot for your deck, there's a spot for your sideboard, a spot for your tokens, and then usually what I'll do is I'll have my sideboarding notes and I'll stick them right in here too. And that way, there's no need to, you don't have to put anything or any spacer cards in there to like hold them up, because this amount of cards will fill it up and keep them nice and straight, so it works out pretty well. And actually, I have a holiday gift box divider card in here, so that it fits in here perfectly to keep the tokens separated from the sideboard. It makes it nice and easy. And then all you have to do is just have this, and I'll set this off to the side when I'm playing, and it's there in case I need to whip out stuff from the board. It's nice. So that was like a bunch of the modern stuff. So this box is one that I usually keep the Legacy deck in. It's another. I bought this one because I wanted to test it to see if I like this one. I think it's fine, but I don't know. I'm still kind of searching to find like the box that I really like. I might try to find a box so that I can also fit some of these dice into a box. There's a couple that I've been looking at for that purpose, but we'll get there eventually. So let me pull out these guys. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice on the inside of here too. It protects them pretty nicely. Alright. So there's extra stuff that's been floating in and out of Modern and Legacy. So we have the other Coral Helm Commander, a set of Ceremonious Rejection. Which, yep, we haven't seen these yet. Yeah, I mean, if you're coming up against Eldrazi, you definitely want to see this card. Yeah. I want to try to show off like what the foiling looks like so that people kind of have an idea. Yeah, you can see it. These look nice. And then textless cryptic commands. I've had these for a very long time, and it's actually funny because the reason I bought the textless cryptics originally is because they were actually cheaper than they were cheaper than getting regular cryptic commands at the time, because I think the set of these was something like they were like maybe $50 for all 4 of them at one point. Yeah, and I was somewhere between 50 and 60 for a set of 4 of these, and I've had them for many years since then. But they're absolutely beautiful, but they do have a tendency to curl, and you can kind of see that. Yeah, I think you can kind of tell they curl a little bit. It's just because they're old and I've had them for a long time and they've seen a hell of a lot of play. I played a lot of like blue-white and Grixis Control besides Merfolk for a long time, so that was one of the reasons I bought these in the first place. But turns out they're actually, you know, reasonably good in the Merfolk toolbox. So we keep them here. All right. So we put these back in the box. And let's see. This is a bunch of the Simic stuff that I was using. This sideboard card is Return to Nature. Oops. Yeah, you can see it. So it's a naturalized that also has a third mode where you can exile a card from a graveyard if you so choose. It's a pretty foil too. It's a very cheap card, but it's also very good in formats like Legacy, where there's a lot of artifacts that you want to blow up with. Because of decks like Death and Taxes and Stoneblade, being able to blow up stuff like Jite or Aether Vial or Phyrexian Revoker with it helps quite a lot. Or even Batterskull. Alright, here we have a Kumena Speaker. This guy is becoming a reasonably decent staple of Merfolk. Just being a 2/2 for 1 is actually pretty good. The only thing is that makes our mana base suck a little bit, so it would be so much better if he was blue, but we'll take what we can get. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Merfolk Mistbinder. Your current standard lord here. Yeah, alright. Fetch lands. So, I run one of each of the blue fetch lands. So here we have the Misty Rainforest. I want to make sure that each one of them gets a chance to show off how shiny they are. A Scalding Tarn. Those are both Modern Masters. And then the Flooded and the Delta here are both cons. I think the Delta looks a lot better. And I'm partial to the Flooded strand too. Now, there was also just a promo of this released as well, which I think also looks fantastic. At some point, maybe I'll try to get an expedition of each one of these, just because if I'm going to have one of each one, I mean, having an expedition for each one would be really cool, but, you know, this works for what I need it for. The other two Waterlogged Groves, as I showed them before, because that was with the rest of the Simic stuff. And the two Tropical Islands, which I have these for Legacy in case I want to play green. These actually I just ended up getting from a friend of mine not that long ago so that I could try playing Simic in an event. They've got a bit of play on them, but you know, you can kind of see a little bit. The border is a little rough at the top, but they're in actually still reasonably good condition. Like, there's no like bends or creases or anything in them, so yeah, we have those for legacies. I think that we need to experiment more in Legacy. Absolutely, Simic could be a thing in Legacy if we wanted to. So, and then finally, these are all cards that I have in my Legacy board. So we'll start here. I'll show off. This is the From the Vault 20 Venser. So you can see it has the same kind of foiling that the Aether Vial uses. So I think it's neat. Some people like this foil and some people don't, but Venser is very important in Legacy as a way to deal with uncounterable things. It can bounce Emrakul, either on the stack or in play. It can also bounce things like Omniscience before they can start spamming a bunch of sorcery spells with it, which is very nice. You know, it's an answer to Merit Lodge, and it also pairs well with this card, which I also have for Legacy. It's Caracas. Return a target legendary creature to its owner's hand. Yeah, it turns out that this is actually a very reasonable card for Merfolk to sideboard, because it bounces Merit Lodge, it bounces Emrakul and Gristlebrand. It can also bounce the Venser back to your hand, so you can eventually get to a board state where, you know, you play the Venser, maybe with a Vial, or you just have 4 mana for it, and then bounce the Venser back to your hand. And then, you know, next turn you get to untap, you can just keep doing it. You just loop, you know, play it, loop it, bounce it back. So you bounce there. Effectively, you can just, like, your opponent, now, whatever, the first spell that they cast is not going to resolve, and if they don't cast a spell, you're just bouncing a permanent instead. So it's a very potent lock that you can have against them. Let's see here. Another one of these dismembers. Got to have that for Monastery Mentor. This is the, I believe, Buy a Box Surgical Extraction. Which you can see it has this new Phyrexia symbol on it. This is a very pretty promo. Good against stuff like Reanimator. Just costs 0 mana, so it helps you get through Chancellor of the Annex. A very recent addition, you can see here, I have a set of Ley Line of the Void from Core 2020. And these are all pre-release foils. Actually, when I first got this set, there was actually 3 promos or 3 of the buy box and 1 regular one, but I ended up trading one to a vendor for the 4th promo one, and because they were they were nice enough, and they just exchanged them straight up. I ended up buying a few extra cards from them, like one of the fiery islets I needed, because they're going to be nice to me. And there's stuff that I need. There's absolutely no reason I can't, reward them with my business for that. So I think that people are a lot more inclined to do you favors when, it generates a lot of goodwill, and I like to return that whenever possible. People, scratch my back, I'm willing to do the same thing. Because that makes it more likely that, the next time somebody needs that favor, then they'll do it for them too. So it helps everybody. I get stuff I want, they get stuff they want, it fixes my sets of cards. It makes me happy. Yeah, this foil looks pretty cool too. They did a good job, because the Ley Line part itself is like the part that shines the most on it. And I think with Hogak in both Modern and Legacy, like, this card is becoming more and more necessary. Alright, let's work our way through the fun stuff now. Force of Will. So this is a set of the Judge promo forces. Let's see, it has the star on it. It's probably about $300 a piece. There is an Invocation one that's probably closer to 200, and there's also an Eternal Master's Force, which is like 400 something. So I think this one's fine. I like this one, but in an ideal world, I'd probably use the Eternal Master's one, because I think that's my favorite art. Alright, and let's see, next, Chalice of the Void, staple of the Legacy deck. These are all from Masters 25. And one of the things I like best about this is it actually has the original set symbol in the text box. And we got Phantasmal Image. Yeah, Image. These are all Modern Masters foils. This card is fine, but it's definitely losing its place because of Plague Engineer and Renin 6 now. So it's not nearly as strong as it used to be, so less and less of them are likely to show up in my deck now. Here we go. The only foil that exists of True Name Nemesis from its Battle Bond. These guys they're about like $200 a piece at the moment. They're not as shiny as I would like them to be, but, if I'm going to have a deck full of shiny stuff, not everything's going to be perfect. And then a set of Modern Masters Cavern of Souls. I actually like this foil a lot. I don't know, like, I just think I like the greenish look. Looks a little bit better in our deck, because we're playing like an all blue deck, and this is like a teal sort of color in the art, so feels like it fits a little bit more. So that's all stuff that goes with the Legacy portion. Sorry, the chair is really squeaky. Alright, and here, alright. This is my binder, as my Merfolk toolbox. This binder is one that I got from playing this Eternal Weekend event. Which, on the other side you see it's like the Tolarian Academy, I believe. So, and on this side it's Deathrite Shaman. This binder is actually kind of rare, I think. Like, it's worth the binder itself is actually worth some money, I think. I'm pretty sure, but I don't know. I've just been using this one for a while, though. It's getting kind of full, and I probably need to replace it with something a little bit bigger soon. So let's take a look and see what we got in here. Here there are 3 Stony Brook Bannerets. And these are all signed in gold. This Seize Claim is actually signed, and it is an artist proof of C's claim. The first page of my binders are always usually decorative things. Voldalian Soldiers, which is signed by the artist here. And then it's just here we got 3 Merfolk of the Pearl Tridents just in foil. This card, however, is a very special one. This is actually Voldalian Knight. This is the playtest card for it. This is what it looks like. So it says on it Mer Knights, 2 colorless and a blue. Summon Merfolk. First strike for a blue, it gets flying. Mer Knights may not attack unless opponent has islands in play. Mer Knights are destroyed if controller has no islands in play. And it's marked here as RU in the corner, 2/2. It appears to be signed on here, and it's Fallen Empires. So a lot. This stuff is their playtest cards are like how Wizards of the Coast develops their sets. There's a lot of old ones you can get out. There's one of the Facebook groups is Magic the Gathering Misprints and Oddities. And there's a few collectors of this sort of thing that have a ton of stuff that they ended up getting from people who worked at Wizards of the Coast, and they sell it on there. So it's a piece of Magic the Gathering history, and specifically a piece of Merfolk history, because this is one of the earlier Merfolks that existed when it was still in the testing phase. So, alright, we'll look at this page first. These are extra foil islands, or just basics, and this is a snow-covered island. I actually just opened up my first foil of that. And on this page, you can see, this is very shiny. We have Tectonic Edge, Gemstone Caverns, Manamo, School at Water's Edge, Botanical Sanctums, Seachrome Coast, Wanderwine Hub, and my third Fiery Islet, Unclaimed Territories, and Fairy Conclaves. I'll try to show them each a little bit more. Okay, next page. Here I have some expeditions of each one of the shocklands that are blue. So we have Breeding Pool, Hollowed Fountains, Watery Grave, and Steam Vents. I actually have 2 of the breeding pools in here because the green one is the one that we use the most. One of them is actually signed by Noah Bradley, which is the artist for it. So let's see. Not gonna make this easy. Alright, there we go. Okay, and here this section of this binder is just creatures. So we have lands first, now creatures. So here we have Curse Catcher from Shadowmoor, Tideshaper Mystics, Dakra Mystic, Mistcloaked Herald. We don't usually use this one much, but I was playing with it a little bit in Standard, so I happen to have foils. Mistcaller, Tidal Warrior. Unfortunately, there actually isn't a foil of Tidal Warrior as far as I know, so we just are stuck with non-foils of that. This card is new. It's Marrow Wit Sniper. It's part of the infinite combo that you can play with Cloudstone Curio in order to mill out your opponent's deck. So I think a few people have been playing. I think Drakenar posted 5-0 with it. It's pretty cool. And then on here, Harbinger of the Tide and Tidebinder Mage. So let's see if we can bring these up a little bit. Alright, next page. Here we've got Water Trap Weaver, which is just a Frost Lynx as a Merfolk. Kapala, Warden of Waves, Scabroinator. This is a really interesting, fun card against decks like Jund that just have tons of removal. Nice 5/6 flyer for 3 mana. The extra cost, you have to exile 3 creatures from your graveyard, but if they're just killing all your creatures, you're going to have a bunch to exile anyway. Plus, you can also vial it in on 3 and just skip paying that cost anyway. But the other cool thing is you can cast it from your graveyard, so even if they use, like, Abrupt Decay on it, well, guess what? You just cast it again anyway, and now you still have a 5/6 flyer, which is hard for them to deal with. Here is a Modern Masters Vendilion Clique, another Regery, another Thassa, the Theros Master of Waves, and extra Phantasmal Images. So we'll just try to show these off quick. It's hard because I'm trying to watch where they are on the screen while the binder's like right in front of my face. Yeah, they're all pretty foils. Alright, and then over on this side, we've got some of the splash stuff. Phyrexian Revoker, which we saw before. Merfolk Branchwalker. We don't really see this played very much because we're not in the point where we need to have a lot of grindy cards. We've already got plenty of good stuff like Thassa and Kira for grindy decks. So. And then over here, Swift Warden. This card I think has potential to see more play in the future. Very powerful effect where if we could find a way to make the mana work for it, because it costs 2 green as part of the cost. Yeah, if the mana could work for it, I think it could be strong. It gives a Merfolk hexproof when it enters the battlefield and has flash. It's a pretty reasonably good thing. You can counter a bunch of like effects like Reflector Mage, or counter like Abrupt Decays or things like of that sort. We got Kumena, Tyrant of Erazka. This is mostly just a standard card. I don't think it really has a place in Modern, but who knows? Maybe one day it'll be relevant. Collector Oath, which just totally shuts down decks like Affinity and Hardened Scales. Chameleon Colossus. This is definitely a Merfolk. It says Changeling. This card is every creature type at all times, which means it is a Merfolk, so it belongs in this binder. But the important thing is that it's also probably our single most hateful card against Death Shadow. Death Shadow just like basically cannot beat this card. If you resolve it against them, then they basically they have to like go very wide in order to avoid dying, because you can pay 4 mana to give it +X/+X, where it's its power. So even if it's the only creature you have on board, you play it, and then next turn you attack for 8 with protection from black, which almost guaranteed just kills the Death Shadow player, because they usually want to be at 8 life in order to keep their Death Shadows a 5/5. And if they're at a lesser life total, well, it doesn't matter, because they probably won't be able to do anything. Here we have Sagana, Utopian Speaker. It's another standard rare. I mean, maybe at some point in the future it's relevant. Probably not, but it is a foil fishy, so it ends up in here. For the white splash, there's Unsettled Mariners, and also Sig River Guide. Yeah, being a 2/2 Island Walk, give a Merfolk you control the color or protection from the color of your choice till end of turn. Effectively just says, 1 colorless, 1 white, counter target removal spell. Or, the creature doesn't die in combat. Or, it might even just make it unblockable in combat. That's possible. Like, it's very good against, this grindy removal decks, I think. So, we'll show these guys off a little bit. Yeah, you can see the From the Vault foiling's different again. If you don't have all the Modern Masters foils and this is something that you're interested in, I highly recommend get the Modern Masters foils now while they're still available. Because I think that like stuff like this and this will go up quite a lot over the course of the next year. And then on the back of here is everybody's favorite friend, Plague Engineer. Yeah. How could you do this to us, Wizards of the Coast? You printed just like the most destructive card against tribal decks that could have possibly existed. A 2/2 Death Touch that just like kills off like half of all the tribal creatures that we'd want to run. So good against like humans and elves and goblins and merfolk, just ruining it. You were supposed to support tier 2 decks, not destroy them. But in any case, I have it in here because I hope to someday have it in the sideboard, or maybe even the main deck if I ever do the Black Splash. Just because against like other merfolk deck or like any other tribal deck, that Plague Engineer is going to be very good against them. So here we have a bunch of like artifacts and enchantments. Smuggler's Copter, Tormod's Crypt. Here's Ashiok, which is a planeswalker, obviously, but it's also Graveyard Hate. Ratchet Bomb, probably not something we're ever going to use, but you know, it's in here because. Sorceress Spyglass, Pithing Needle. We have Seize Claim. I kind of want to replace this with the 9th edition ones, but haven't gotten a chance to. I just have a set of Onslaughts at the moment. Threads of Disloyalty. This one is actually probably not a card that we're going to be playing at any point in the near future. I want to pull this out though so you can see, like, it doesn't really shine that well. I mean, it is a foil, but it's one of the least shiny foils I have. The foiling in this I'm not a huge fan of. And it's from the Jace's signature spellbook. And then, yeah, Relic of Progenitus, you're familiar. We just looked at that a little bit ago. And let's see what else is over here. Quicksilver Fountain. This is a really interesting trolley kind of card. Damping Sphere. Damping Matrix, which is also like a more hateful Null Rod. 3 mana. Deep-Root Waters, you know, Shaper, Sanctuary, and Search for Iskanta. Again, Search for Iskanta is probably not a card that we're going to play in Merfolk, but who knows? Maybe one day Nikachu like 5-0s with like a Merfolk control deck that runs like Search for Iskanta or something. Anything's possible. Always believe in the power of troll folk. That's why a lot of these cards just are here. So, and then we move on to like more instants and sorceries. Down here we have, this is an F&M promo, Disdainful Stroke. Another Deprive, Ixalan Spell Pierce, and the Rivals of Ixalan Negate. I really like these versions of these arts a lot. Even though we probably don't play like the negate, like a lot of these counter spells are very situational. We don't play much of them anymore because we favor mostly this card. But who knows? Maybe at some point, you know, we might want to go back to some of these. Here's Unified Will, Wizard's Retort, Flash Freeze. Then we got Swan Song, which that card is actually more likely to see play in Legacy, I think. Yeah, Swan Song is hard to get it to shine there. Peak, probably. Again, it's not something I think we're going to play a lot of now because we have Benthic Biomancer, but yeah, it's there. Repeal. This card shows up in a lot of M. Hayashi style Merfolk lists. Let's see what else here. Vapor Snag. Oh, there you go. Hibernation. If your meta game has lots of like Boggles and Elves in it, Hibernation is a great way to hate on them. And then we got Hurkyl's Recall. Echoing Truth here, we saw that already, and the Modern Master's Gutshot. Down here, more Surgicals, because I have to have a set of them. Boomerang, which is another card Nikachu played for a while, and I was like, yeah, it's a cheap foil, may as well pick it up. And Logic Knot, because again, who knows, it's a blue card, maybe there's some reason in the future that we'll want foil blue cards. I don't know. Probably never playing this card, but who knows? I like shiny cards, so it stays in here. And we have up here Mana Leak. Can I get it? Just yeah, there we go. Almost. Yeah, it doesn't. Mana Leak doesn't shine very much. That's the 12th edition one. Dispel. This one's fine. Psionic Blast. I love how trolly Psionic Blast is. And look at that. That is a beautiful shine to it. And we got Spell Snare, more Cryptic, Disrupting Shoal. This card, because of Force of Negation, we're probably not playing this anymore unless a deck like 8-Whack is really, really powerful again, whether we need to counter like Burning Tree Emissary immediately or something. Let's see, down here we have Sleep. That's probably just like mostly for standard, but again, maybe this is a powerful sideboard card if a deck's not prepared for it. I mean, this could be like some way to beat like a creature matchup, like maybe Boggles or something. I mean, so they don't get to attack for a turn, and you get to attack them for a lot. Actually, you get to attack them twice. The turn that you play it, and then the turn after that, because their guys will still be tapped. Let's see, then down here, Archmage's Charm, and Narset's Reversal. You know, just more cards that at some point, you know, maybe they'll find a home in the deck, but who knows. Probably not for now. And also here, we already have Flash Freeze, but this one, Aether Gust is a different version of that card. It's choose target spell or permanent that's red or green. Its owner puts it on top or bottom of their library. So which means we can actually use this to target like Tarmogoyf or something to put it on top of the opponent's deck. It's potentially useful. Or, you know, if they cast it, or if they're also casting something, it's a lot more relevant in standard. They're going to cast something like Chandra Awakened Inferno. Since it's a red spell that's uncounterable, Aether Gust can actually say, you know what, no, I would like you to put it on top of your deck instead. So it's kind of like a remand. So let's see here. Have an extra foil Spell Pierce, except this is the Modern Masters one. This is my bunny token, or my bunny island from Nikachu, and the Master Waves token that he signed for me. I have more Return to Natures, some Lightning Bolts, and Path to Exile here too. In case I ever need to splash those colors, they're here. And then here we have some cards for the Legacy deck. So in Legacy, Fairy Macabre is actually kind of relevant sometimes. If you know you're going to play against a lot of like Black-Red Reanimator, Fairy Macabre is excellent because it can only really be stopped by Pithing Needle. It's a very shiny, foily card too. I'm trying to get it to shine. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, the card, very good. All you discard it from your hand as a cost. You're not actually casting it. So yeah, all they can really do is just Pithing Needle it and hope that that's good enough. It gets through Chancellor of the Annex where you don't have to pay one to do it. Grip of Phyresis is a tech card against any of the Stoneforge Mystic decks where you can steal the equipment that they search for it. It's an interesting card. I think that it's kind of like a mono blue version of Return to Nature where it like deals with the Umezawa's Jites and Batterskulls and Swords of Fire and Ice. Null Rod, this is actually probably more relevant for Vintage than it is Legacy. It's a reserve list card, so there's not foils of these, so unfortunately we're just stuck with those. Fluster Storm, this is here. It is Modern legal now, but like it doesn't really get played in Modern, and actually it doesn't even really get played in Legacy now that we have Force of Negation, but I don't know, it can still be good if like Storm was ridiculously powerful, or it's hard to say. Like, it's not a bad card by any means. It's just we have a hard time finding a lot of slots to play it. Foiled Daze from Eternal Masters. Back to Basics here from Ultimate Masters in the bottom. Set of F&M counterspells. One day, hopefully, these will be legal in Modern. Then I have Wasteland here. You know, because sometimes you want these in the Legacy sideboard. You might even main deck one or two. If there's a lot of decks like 12 Posts or Mud or something, you might want Wastelands. Or even Lands, just because like Lands and Dark Depths, it's actually a relevant card against too. And then the last page are all tokens that I bought from Sophie on the Merfolk Discord, who had an Etsy shop selling these for a while. They're very pretty. But since I'm not playing with Master Waves anytime soon, I can't really use them for much, which is a shame. I do have one more thing I'm going to grab quickly to show you guys. Let me see, I believe it should be in here. Ah, yes, yes, yes. I believe you guys are familiar with this. I do have my Pikachu Mtg Play Mat. And if you see, I got him to sign it for me. And I love this. Get dunked on. So, yeah, I like to play with this mat a lot when I'm playing locally. Because everybody already here knows that I'm playing Merfolk, so a lot of times I will just bring this. It's usually either this or I will use Nicol Bolas mat instead. Which, actually, I do have that one here. One sec. This is the one that I normally play with when I go to like a larger event. It's got this nice embroidered edge around it. I had a friend of mine pick this up from PAX for me. This is great. It's the stained glass Nicol Bolas Dragon God. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, I like Nicol Bolas a lot. So, yeah, this is definitely, because I don't want to play Pikachu's mat when I'm playing like an IQ or something. That basically just tells them, yeah, by the way, I'm playing Merfolk, so please mulligan into like Plague Engineer if it's in your deck or something. Not really interested in giving them that free advice in game one, so. Yeah, that's really all I've got for the time being. That's, I believe, most, if not all, of the shiny cards that I have for Merfolk. I hope everybody enjoyed getting to see this stuff. I love being able to show it off, and a lot of people compliment it a lot, so. It's very expensive, and I absolutely do not recommend that anybody go down this rabbit hole of foiling out your deck, because yeah, it's going to cost you a lot. You know what? Actually, there is one more thing that I can do while I have this going. One last thing. Give me 1 second. Alright. Gotta get the key for this one. So, I've shown you a bunch of stuff for Merfolk in Modern and Merfolk in Legacy, but this is all stuff for Merfolk in Vintage. This one is actually kind of in a... This has... it's like pendant mode, because I had this with me at BronyCon and I was showing it off to a bunch of people in the tabletop games. Yeah, so I actually do have this stuff to play Merfolk in Vintage, if I so choose. This is signed by Christopher Rush. You can see it. I took it to one of the events that he was doing a few years ago before he passed away. And yeah, this Lotus is in absolutely fantastic condition. I bought it from Star City probably like 6 years ago at this point. Yeah, I never intend to get rid of this. Yeah, nice Ancestral Recall. This is in pretty good condition too. The back's a little bit worn on this side, but otherwise it's not too bad. The Mock Sapphire is in a little bit rougher shape. You can kind of see in the bottom here a little bit. Yeah, and the back is like obviously a lot more worn out. Somebody drew a star on it. They just etched it into it for some reason, but Yeah, it's worn, but it's still definitely sleeve playable. And then this is one of the most infamous things that I own, because there was originally a set of 10 cards, the Power 9 plus a Time Vault, that one guy had altered with My Little Pony characters on all of them. And it got some mixed reactions from people, to say the least. But I guess for whatever reason he needed to end up selling them, so he had one of the major Power 9 sellers, I believe it was Dan Bach, go and sell them for him. And at that time, I bought what I could, which was this one. I needed the Time Walk, and this was also my favorite character from this, so I figured. I also knew that, it would probably irritate a bunch of people that, I would have this, which, I'm playing Merfolk. I love the salt from people, so, anything that generates salt is it gives me life. But it is an unlimited Time Walk. The whole set of cards was unlimited. It is a legitimate card. It's not like collector's edition or anything. So it's in reasonably okay condition. It's not like torn up or anything. It's just they used acrylic paint on the border to black border the whole thing, which is like probably not the best idea. But I mean, it was never a good idea to do this in the first place anyway. But I do have the Rainbow Dash Time Walk. I don't know whatever happened to the other 9 pieces, but legend says if you collect all 9 pieces, you will be granted a wish, and then they will scatter across the world once again. So I don't know, maybe one day we'll see all the Pony Power 9 and plus the Time Vault back together, but yeah, so alright, now that should really do it, because now you've seen like my entire Merfolk in Modern, Legacy, and Vintage collection for all this stuff. So I'm all in on Merfolk, so that all the cards that I sell go to like fund this hobby, where it's just purely Merfolk foils and Merfolk stuff on the reserve like any reserve list card that there's not like a foil of, like like Null Rod or those sort of things. Yeah, if there's no foils, I have to get non-foils of whatever. Hopefully one day, I would love for there to be foil versions of these cards. Not, well, I mean, I would love it, and at the same time not, because it means that it would cost a ridiculous amount of money, I'm sure, but like there are definitely a few cards, like the Null Rods, for instance, are a really, really big one. I want a foil for my deck, but just gotta live without it. Same thing with like Grip of Phyresis. I would really, really, really love there to be foils in like tropical islands. Like I would absolutely play foil tropicals in Legacy, but until then, we're just gonna have to live without it. So that's the price you pay for shiny. Is that because of the reserve list now there can never be shinies of those cards. Oh well. Oh, one day maybe they'll just decide, what, screw it, we'll do it. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed getting to see this. I definitely enjoyed sharing it with you guys, so I should have another league up tomorrow finally. But it's all the time I've got for now, and I hope that everybody enjoyed watching this, so take it easy. If you have questions about anything or comments, I always read them all. And I guess one last thing I will say, I just noticed I passed 100 subscribers while I was out on vacation. I am so incredibly grateful to everybody who comes here to enjoy this content. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot to me that you guys enjoy seeing me screw around with Merfolk, because it's something that I really enjoy doing. Yeah, and I like being able to share and entertain with people, so thank you so much, and hopefully we'll continue to see the channel grow and do more stuff. I'll try to do more video game stuff in the future too. I'm always finding it hard to find time to do all the things that I want to do, because I have like a huge laundry list of stuff. But alright, so I think this is like the 3rd time I'm trying to end this video, so because I have other things I have to do now. But thank you everybody for joining me here, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this, and have a good day. Take it easy. Bye.